Yo, what's good guys? This is Nightwing2303 from WearTesters.com. Today we got the performance review on these guys right here. This is the Jordan Jumpman Hustle. Holy shit, do I miss herringbone. This right here, awesome. Why it's not used on more sneakers? I don't know. The only downside about this traction right here is that the majority of this particular colorway is translucent rubber. There are some sections of solid rubber which actually are great, and then the pattern itself actually saves the outsole for when there are some issues with that translucent rubber. However, there are plenty of colorways that are available right now that actually have solid rubber, so what I would do is recommend going with that. If you love this colorway and you prefer solid rubber, grab the international version or the China version. They actually have an XDR outsole that is solid rubber, which I think is great. We actually have one of our testers, Stanley. He's actually testing those right now. But if you happen to have any issues with this stuff right here, all you got to do is quickly wipe whatever dust is there away and you're pretty much good to go. Like I said, man, herringbone is tried and true. There's no storytelling with it. There's no gimmicks with it. There's no bull. Herringbone is awesome. It should be used all the time. And right here, this is where it's at. Now the cushion on these guys is minimal. And the reason for that is that they wanted to keep everything low profile and shave off a ton of weight. And speaking of shaving, this video is brought to you guys by Manscaped.com, the only men's brand dedicated to your one-eyed willy. A team of aerospace engineers set out to make cleaning up your bald-headed sailor easier, even for beginners. This perfect package features a Lawnmower 2.0, a waterproof trimmer with a 6,000 RPM motor. Oh yes, that's a more power. Its ceramic bladed head is replaceable and uses skin-safe technology. That's right, no nicks and snacks for your purple helmeted warrior of love. Now what the sh— And to keep everything hygienic, Manscaped.com gives you the option to have a replacement blade delivered every 3 months. The rechargeable battery lasts 60 minutes, so you don't have to worry about getting caught with your pants down, unless you want to. This kit also features the Crop Preserver, a 24-hour moisturizing deodorant to ensure your clam hammer is fresh and ready to go. The Crop Reviver, in case you're still worried about the old joystick being a little rusty and musty, just spritz on a little bit of this natural spray-on body toner and refresher. That's a mouthful. That's what she said, to keep the good times rolling. The Plow, a stainless steel double-edged single blade safety razor, you know, for when you really want to let Dr. Johnson go bare. And last but not least, the Magic Mat. This helps keep everything clean and tidy while giving you a little bit of reading material. All of these products are made in the US and feature a 30-day money-back guarantee. There is a free gift for WearTesters subscribers, which does include the Shed travel bag, free shipping, as well as a free special gift. All you have to do is use promo code WEAR20 over at Manscaped.com. We will have a direct link in the description box below, so help out our channel and click the link. Now, back to your regular scheduled programming. But the actual cushioning right here is a lightweight Phylon midsole with a 4-foot zoom air unit. I believe the 4-foot zoom unit is not the rectangle kind, it's actually the one that goes underneath most of your foot, like in Air Jordan 13 and 14. And I absolutely love the way that these feel. Even though they don't have any cushion in the back, the shoe just feels super smooth and super comfortable. You have plenty of responsive court feel right in the front with a little bit of spring back due to that zoom air. And I know that the heel area looks pretty thick and chunky, but it actually does not feel like that or play like that when it's on foot. I know that the setup isn't like mind-blowing or anything like that. It's not unlock zoom. It's not that gigantic unit that you see in the Air Jordan 33, but this right here gets the job done, and it gets the job done just fine. I think that these are, like I said, super fucking comfortable. Now the materials on these guys feature two different types, the internal and then the external. The internal material is a basic textile, and that is pretty much done up in a one-piece booty fashion. You do have these bungees right there at the tongue for easy entry, which I think is awesome. I think that when they have shoes like this that are kind of like one piece, having those right there makes a world of a difference for getting your foot in and out of the shoe easily. And then the overlay or the shell material is made up of vinyl and this synthetic patent leather. I know that patent is actually a synthetic material, but patent leather is that synthetic or that shiny synthetic laid on top of actual leather, stuff that they actually don't do anymore. This right here is super thin though. It doesn't feel thick like something that you would see back there, the Air Jordan 11. Those actually provide a ton of support with that type of thicker material, whereas this guy does lack that just a little bit. Overall durability seems to be great. I don't have any issues other than them being dirty, but I've been playing in them, so that's to be expected. But nothing's ripped, nothing's torn, no scuffs or abrasions or anything like that, so I like the materials used. I think that they're doing a pretty good job, especially for their price point, and their price point is 110 bucks, which I find to be extremely reasonable. Now the fit on these guys is true to size. If you do have a wide foot, I would still recommend going true to size just because everything does break in and stretch out just a little bit. However, that Chinese pair that I was talking about about earlier in the traction section, those are actually built on a slightly wider last, so they are made for wide footers. Again, if you're interested in something like that, going with an overseas seller. The one that I normally use is ID for Shoes on eBay, and a lot of their stuff is labeled like PF at the end of the shoe name, and that means that it's like a wide foot friendly sneaker. And that is not a plug for ID for Shoes, that just happens to be like the only seller that I know that resells those types of sneakers, so you know, you're welcome. And I'm not talking to the viewer, I'm talking to ID for Shoes, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying like you're welcome to the viewer, I'm just, like I just gave that dude free promo, and I shouldn't have, but it's literally the only place that you can get them.
And hey, now we know.
Well, everybody should know, that's the thing. Like if you're a wide footer and you have issues, make sure, especially as a consumer, that you are as knowledgeable as possible, which is what we're here for. Now the overall lockdown is solid for the most part, except for on lateral movements, which I find to be a little bit disappointing, especially since this is a shrouded shoe. I expected the lockdown to be really like super snug, much like it was on something like the Zoom Glove, the Jordan Why Not 01, and then obviously these guys right here. So inside here, you're gonna have to readjust those laces a few times, because like I said, that internal booty is just textile, so it's super basic. It doesn't have a ton of support to it, so you're gonna definitely have to go and tighten up every few games just to make sure that you're constantly like getting that snug fit that you need. And then once that zipper is zipped up, it does feel nice, but upon lateral movements, that very thin fake patent leather that they have there just doesn't, you know, contain the way that I would have expected it to, or the way that I just actually like it to. I think that if you would have sat in that forefoot section of the midsole just a little bit more, that would have saved everything, but the way that it is right now, it just takes a little bit of time to get used to that. You will feel it upon certain lateral movements, and then the shoe takes a little bit of time to recover from that, which is kind of a bummer. And that brings me into the support. The support's basic, it's good overall, but that forefoot area or that midfoot area of the lateral containment could be a little bit better than what it actually is. The rear section is fine. You have an internal heel counter, which is great. And then the molded Phylon midsole actually cups your heel area in the back as well for some added support. And then you do have an internal shank plate right there that you cannot see, but it's just one of those little rectangle bars. And that pretty much takes care of it. I think that for 110 bucks, this is definitely one of the better options that Jordan Brand has to offer. Actually, to be blunt, their team shoes are just better than anything, especially if you're considering the dollar value. The Jordan Fly Lockdown, that shoe is fantastic. These guys are just below that. And if you're comparing something like that to the flagship shoe, like the Air Jordan 33, those are super cool and everything. They've got a ton of tech in there, as well as some new stuff, some new gimmicks or whatever that do actually work. But these shoes right here are basic. They save your pocket as well, and they work perfectly on court. And that pretty much takes care of it. If you need any more information, you can always click the link down below in the description box. It'll head you over to WearTesters.com, where you can find their price, their weight, and their scores. Leave your thoughts on these down below in the comment section. Do you like how they look? If you've been playing in a pair, do you like how they play? Sound off below and let us know. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all your support. Make sure to click that manscaped.com link as well. It helps out this channel quite a bit to have sponsors like that, since we do this out of pocket. These shoes aren't f***ing cheap, man, and they're not free either. I know a lot of people think that they're free, but we pay for almost everything here, and it's expensive. So again, thank you guys so much for your support, and until next time, guys, have a good one. Did you want to talk about these? Oh, she wants her voice heard, guys. She wants her voice heard.
I don't know if you covered it in the first look video. I don't think you would have, because you wouldn't have played in them yet. But didn't you say that besides the fact that you have to relace them a couple times, but it wasn't until you got them just right that you couldn't zip it up properly?
Yeah, like when you first put in a shoe, like your foot feels a little like fat, a little swollen. And so like when I put them in, I just tied them up kind of like regular.
Yeah.
Like I would like a casual shoe almost. Mostly because of this shroud thing. My thought was it's gonna really like lock you in, right? But then it doesn't, and you could feel that. So I had to unzip it and then really tighten those laces up and all that stuff, and then zip this up. So this is mostly, it's mostly for looks, unless you have like a fat foot. If you have like a foot that will really fill this out, then it should clamp you down a little bit nicer than like someone like myself. But I still really like how they look. I think these are dope.
Well, I think it's interesting because it seems like a lot of people really like the look of the shoe.
At first they weren't.
Well, based off of the likes and comments that I see on Instagram,
social.
Yeah.
I just know that when we first reported this on WearTesters, a lot of the comments were kind of like trashing on the shoe.
Well, I just think that's interesting that people are coming around to them, because if you say you black out the shoe, I know we've talked about silhouettes, black out the shoe, tell me that bottom, how it's so rounded, it doesn't remind you of an Under Armour shoe.
To me, it reminds me of the Jordan 20.
Oh, You
remember that one with that weird like loose?
Oh yeah, no,
ankle?
I can see that too. But I'm just saying, if you pull some recent shoes, blacked them all out, go to UnderArmour.com, they all kind of have that same silhouette bottom.
Yeah, that Curry and that Hover Havoc.
Yeah.
And all that stuff.
And
So what?
I just think it's interesting because Under Armour doesn't get a lot of love.
Well, it's because people think it's funny to hate, even though it's like a detriment to someone's brand or business. The only time when you can actually make fun of a brand is Nike and Jordan, because it won't affect their sales really, because it's still Nike and Jordan. So like when you have that logo on there, because like our little like world that's here on YouTube, the sneakerheads, it's so small. We're like maybe like 2%, if that. And that's like being very liberal with it. The majority though, they don't know that we exist. They don't know reviews exist. They don't know that sneakerheads are a thing, except for like the dumb shit that they see on the news. The sneakerheads that like
The lines wrapped around.
yeah, the cons, you know what I mean? Like the sneaker cons, like these are all like kids flipping shoes. Like that's what sneakerheads look like right now, which is bullshit. So the majority of the consumers just go into a store, they see shoes the way that people used to. They see them visually based off of what they like, or they just look at the logo real quick and they're like, oh, these are Jordans. Oh, they're $110. Cool. And so they'll buy them. And then they'll capture their attention with, like we were talking about before, with cool colorways.
Yeah.
They will do a ton of popular colorways on a cheaper shoe like this because it will, I don't want to say trick because that sounds like they're being deceitful, but that is a way to trick a consumer into buying this when they otherwise wouldn't be interested. So like this colorway being made in a Concord 11 style look will get some purchases versus just something like this.
Yeah.
It's simply because they remind people of that shoe, which is the popular shoe.
Got it.